Thank you everyone for joining us today for our next Future Focus series. Today we have Su Chou from DTE Energy. She is a senior client relations consultant. Please note that guests of our Zoom webinar will have view-only capabilities and do not have access to video or audio. Please use the chat feature to ask any questions. The host will monitor and ensure answers are all gathered, and this session will be recorded. So Sue, I'm so excited that you're able to join us today. And you can see me, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, just want to make sure we're off that shared screen. So Sue, can you tell us a little bit about your role with DTE Energy and kind of what you do?
Absolutely. So I've been with DTE for 15 years. My degree is in human resources, and that's what I have aspired to be. So my current role, the title is client relations consultants, but in reality, really, it's just HR under one umbrella. That being said, you know, there are times you recruit for positions. There are times that you are managing and building out the workforce in terms of laying the foundation, in terms of what the next, talent is coming from, and looking at how we can mentor the workforce. So in HR, there's different aspects, different pockets of HR. There's employee relations, labor relations, workman's comp, compensation and benefits, recruiting, safety, and then of course, what we call organizational development. So those are different aspects of it. For me in DTE, I've been there for 15 years. I have gone into the employee consulting part of it. I have also gone into the labor relation part of it. And then I have gone into the recruiting part of it.
Wow, that is pretty layered. And I think what's really interesting is just about with any career that you're going into, you're going to be dealing with an HR department. You know, they help to manage the people that are working for that organization. And they really have, I have found, a real handle on the different jobs and careers that might fall under that organization. So I'm so glad that you could join us. So let me have you think back to when you were in middle school or high school. And did you think you would grow up to work in human resources and work in human resources for an energy company?
No, not at all. When I was young, in my 15, 16, 17, I was very blessed. And the reason why I said I was very blessed was that I was able to attend a high school that offered internships at that time. And it really helped me catapult and kind of prioritize where I want to be. There's a saying, I don't want to grow up, and I still don't want to grow up, to be honest with you. But one of the interesting thing was that I had an opportunity to work at a hospital, found out I didn't want to be a doctor. I can't handle sick people. You have to take a lot of patience and empathy. I found out that I like to negotiate. And so that's the aspect of the legal aspect, the business aspect of it. And I found out that I like law. I also want to be an engineer, and not because I wanted to, it's because my parents told me I had to. And so I found out engineering was not my forte because, again, I need that thrill in terms of negotiating. I need that thrill of reading the laws aspect of it. So I switched to be a lawyer. So those are some of the things I have explored, but I was given a lot of opportunity and leeway to explore my career path in high school. And I would encourage any individual that is looking to say, I don't know what I want to do. Get involved, participate, be it, pay or non-pay, because you're going to find out that, hey, something I've never thought about, I might want to do it. And so that will help you catapult and, widen your horizon and experience and exposure to what you really want to do that you find a passion for.
Oh, Sue, that is so great advice. And, we encourage that as career specialists here to get students exploring early and exploring often, because many times the picture that they have in their head is really not the reality. Me as well, wanted to be a veterinarian my whole life, had a internship with a vet, realized, nope, that's not for me. Now I have 3 dogs still at home, still a big, huge animal lover, but that was not the career for me. So you talked about the internship, and that was a huge experience that influenced Were there any other experiences that you had that were major influences in directing you to this path?
Absolutely. So one of the things I was very blessed is that, throughout the times I was able to, and one of the things I was told, being again, coming into the United States who doesn't even speak English, I really struggled in terms of finding a right pathway for me. And, culturally there was a barrier, language, there was a barrier. And so I had to overcome that. And I have some great mentors who helped me along the way. And one of the things my mentors share with me, and I share that at any college events or any high school events, is networking. Do not be afraid to ask people, what are you doing and what does a job entail and what is it like? Look at it from a perspective, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because in every job, you can easily say, this is not for me, but if you don't explore it, you may miss out a great opportunity in that aspect. But finding a great mentor, to this day, my mentor still has been with me since high school. And, anytime when I needed a head check, I call it, I would call my mentor and say, hey, can I run something past by you? And really a mentor has two folds. One is a good mentor will try to explore where your what I call challenges are and where your greatest strengths are, and try to help you work through that aspect of it. And then as you continue on, your mentor is going to help you connect. And also working in the community is a huge help. For me in particular, I have never had to look for a job, and DT is my fifth job in that aspect. And partly because I am very much involved in the community. I sit on different boards, I volunteer. And so you get a better idea what each role holds and what jobs out there and what the job markets are. And it's interesting because I go to job fairs and people will come up to my booth and they said, you don't have anything for me because that's not my major. I said, and that's not what I want to do. And I would always say, well, let me talk about what do you want to do? And they'll give me a job title. I said, well, let's take the job title out. Tell me a little bit about what you're passionate to do. Don't put a label name on it. Tell me what makes you get up every morning that you're eager to do. And it's not a job, it's a career, something that you are happy to get up to go to work every day. And there's jobs that you just have to go there to make the money. And that is not the intent.
Yeah, no, that is a big distinction, a job and a career. And you want a career that's something that you're passionate about. And I love how you talk about your interests and talents, because those interests and talents really help guide us in finding the right fit for us. So I love that. So let's talk about your early days after high school, going to college or training or apprenticeship or whatever your path was. What was that path, and what were some of the experiences in that post-secondary training that again helped guide you to where you're at today?
One of the things, and it's a really good question, one of the things I talk about, and I did not have the luxury of, being on what we call a full campus life, because I had parents that I need to take care of financially. So I was working full time while I was going to college at the same time. But one of the things that I think is unique in a career in any pathway is to make sure that you talk to your counselor. And when there's job fairs, it comes to your school, make sure you go to every job fair. There's no question that is stupid. There's no questions that is not up to the alley. Always ask, what does your industry do? And how does it relate to what some of the things that I might be interested in doing and experiencing? And also too, as I was in college, I was constantly looking for opportunities and say, well, can I come work at your company? And can I do this? Can I volunteer? A lot of times companies in particular, because there is a security issue, they may not allow you to be on their facility. So it's important that you get yourself there, show your eagerness. One of the things I always share with kids in particular is that when you have like bring your child to work day, take up on that opportunity, and then you really get a scope of. And I took my children to work, and now my children, that they are in college, they have an idea in terms of what they want to be, but still they are somewhat lost as well, and said, my daughter wants to be a doctor, same reason. She went and did 1 year working at the hospital, and she said, that's not for me. And so you have to kind of find that passion. And one thing I always say, failure is a lesson learned, and it's a great lesson learned. Never be afraid to fail. you are going to be afraid that you don't fail, because by failing, you are going to learn a lot more out of it.
Yeah, that is a really good piece of advice, because sometimes through those failures is where you discover where you need to be and your path. And I also, liked what you were saying about you know the different things that you learned in that post-secondary training, and guiding you there, because we never know those experiences of a job fair. Like you were saying, we hold job fairs for our seniors, and expos for our 9th through 11th graders, and sometimes those are really great just to go to get comfortable with talking to an employer, because that's part of the interview process, right, is to just be comfortable. And I loved what you were referring to a take your child to work day, getting those experiences early. The more that students can see outside of what they normally see on a normal day helps them to see what's available to them. So I love that you share that. Um, so explain your degree, background, credentials that you personally have for what you do.
Wonderful. So as I indicated, when I was in high school as well as in college, I have to kind of hop around and play around in terms of what I want. I wanted to be a lawyer because one of the things I was passionate about was really understanding the law and how the law is applied. Unfortunately, as a lawyer, one of the things I was adamant about was I refused to defend anybody who's guilty in my eyes. And my counselor and my professors threatened to fail me for the grade because I refused to take a mock trial that to defend a child molester. So then my counselor came to me, and because I have an internship and then also I have a scholarship, and said, I told my counselor I cannot fail this course. My counselor said, well, have you thought about human resources? One, you'd love to negotiate, you love the law, and this would be a combination of both. And so I said, oh, that's a good idea. So let me try it. So I kind of tried it, and I really like what I do. And again, the internship really helped me along the way, because initially, I have to say, my very first week and the very first month in the internship, I kind of said, oh my God, they're going to have me doing paper shuffling. And so I really kind of did the question, is this really what I wanted to do? But unbeknownst to me, one of the good mentors comes to me and said, what have you learned? I said, filing paper. And they said, that's not the intent. I said, well, what is the intent? They said, have you learned anything about, what goes in the file? What are the record retentions and so forth? So a lot of times you don't see the complete picture until somebody points it out to you. So whenever I ask somebody to do something, I always have a reason being it in terms of learning. So a lot of times kids will go to internship and say, I didn't learn anything from it. And so then I would ask the question, and it goes around, well, tell me exactly what you did. And they will go A, B, C, D. And I said, well, you know how to file the system that's differently than what you would have done. What else did you learn? So a lot of times you have to make a situation and look at it in more of a global setting versus more of a tunnel setting to learn what you have learned.
Yeah, that's really important, especially in this economy. So many jobs are interconnected and interweaved with each other, and support each other in so many ways. So, talking about what you do, what is a day in the life of Su Chou look like at DTE Energy?
Well, gosh, that's a big mouthful, because in my life, in my day, it's one thing I really enjoy. And I say this is because of the fact that my day is never a dull moment. And when I say never dull moment, is that, I could have my calendar planned for the whole thing. And I'm thinking from this time to this time, I would be doing this. A lot of times you have emergencies, you have people who have issues. And I'll give an example. I was working one day and I had meetings all scheduled, and I suddenly get a call from a former employee who's retires family. And they said, I absolutely need to talk to you. And I said, oh my gosh. I said, what's happening? He said, I don't know if you knew, so-and-so has passed away, and I need to talk about benefits and make arrangements. So that day, my schedule has been put aside, and then I started helping the others. Other times, when you have an issue, in other words, if individual is not doing what they need to do, you also have to do an investigation and make sure that you're hearing people out. One thing I really enjoy doing, and this is one of the parts that I absolutely find a very great passion with, is that when you look at the title human resources, human aspect of it is the human capital. So I really like to enjoy knowing my clients clients, the people that I support, and the people I assist, because this way it helps me how to be a better support of the individual, to help the individual. And those people are not just a number, but rather they are my clients, regardless if they are employee or otherwise.
Yes, and I think that's important because, like you said, you're the human part of it. You're helping your employees be successful in what they do. So let's expand that a little bit. And I see we have a question in our chat too of what are some of the other job opportunities that you help fill through your human resources role within DTE Energy? Because energy is such a growing field, right? So how does that look for other jobs that are available beyond your role with DTE?
Absolutely. And this is another part that I find, very rewarding in my role, is that help to make those individuals a difference in that particular. I fill positions anywhere from an hourly position all the way to the director level role. So I deal with executives and I also deal with hourly. There is no mountain too small, no hill to beg for any aspect of it, in that aspect. So let's take a look at about the careers opportunity. And I see it now. Answer this first question is that,
Yeah.
if someone who doesn't have and again, not everyone wants to go to college, and you know what, that doesn't mean that you can't be successful. In our world at DTE, we have positions open from anywhere, working from home permanently as a customer service rep, and you can be 18 years old, to working on the field, you can be 18 years old. And what's unique about our situations that we will provide trainings for those individuals. We don't just hire someone and say, okay, you're hired, let's go ahead and put you to work. It's a lot of nurturing, a lot of mentoring, and a lot of training. For example, I have positions that are called service technicians, distribution technicians, utility technicians, field technicians. Those are basically, you must be 18 years old. And basically the technicians do two different aspects of the work. Some of them are dealing with HVAC. We train those individuals, and you are not hired in just to work that aspect of it until you're fully trained. It takes about 2 hours good training for you to get certification to fix heating units, air conditioning units, stoves, anything that's basically gas related. And then we also have what we call distribution technicians, which they go in the field and they put main in the pipelines and so forth. So there's definitely opportunities in that aspect. Now, one of the things I am also very proud of with DTE is that with some of the people that come into our organization, they actually work their way up into management. So we have supervisors who work on the field, operational analysts, and so they do not need a degree, but you have to have the experience. So what I always tell people when they come to my booth is that if you want to come in as a technician, start learning, and then keep your eyes and ears open, and be a great worker, because when you do, you are going to get that visibility. People recognize you for your due diligence, and then they will more prone to promote you. As a matter of fact, I just hired early this year in January, I just hired a technician, and I promoted him in June of this year to supervisor. So he was ecstatic.
Nice. Oh my gosh. I love hearing that DTE helps support their workers in kind of training within and training them up. That is a great opportunity for someone, like you mentioned, 18, maybe not wanting to formally go on to college, but want some training, get some skills, and have a great job. I know there's a question here about having students interested in becoming a lineman. What advice can you give, or programs could direct them?
Perfect. So there's two programs, well, actually 3 programs to be exact. Now, DTE also, the dividing line, we have electricity and we have gas, we have nuclear, we have fossil generation, we have renewable, solar, and wind. Now, Lansing is the dividing line. Anything to the west of Lansing, we have gas. Anything in the east of Lansing, we have electricity. So for an individual who's interested in lineman, there's three things that you could do. One, you can apply for a entry-level position, a lineman apprentice position at DTE, where we will train you in terms of climbing, getting into the bucket, make sure your safety, sensitive jobs are trained completely. A second option is a lot of people will go to a technical school, which DTE has their own technical school, but they're outside also have their technical school to be a lineman's program. And then the other one is another program that they have that's provided out in terms of the training that they have from, instead of school, it's more of a technical school for nuclear, for energy sector. But my recommendation, to be honest with you, if you want to make the money quickly, you want to get your seniority and so forth, because lineman makes a lot of money, but it's, again, we are union. So we are basically, you come in as a entry-level position, you progress to the levels as you continue to grow. So I would say apply. I would suggest that you go onto the www.dteenergy.com, and then you click on careers, and every Thursday the new jobs are basically replenished, so you can always look for those opportunities.
Oh, Sue, thank you. That is really good. And I think that helps answer those questions for the person in our chat that was looking for those entry-level positions for students. Let me ask you, what are some, because we have students that might be listening in anywhere from 6th to 12th grade. So what are some skills that are really important that you look for in employees that students could be working on while they are in school still?
This is a really excellent question, not only from my organization, but any company you go to. The skill set, I would break it out in two prongs. One is a technical skill, and the other one is the soft competency. And the soft competency is really your personality. Let me take that back a step here. At DTE, we have what we call the 4 service keys. We talk about being safe. That means that you are conscientious about safety, not only for you, but for others. Being efficient, how efficient you're doing your work. Being dependable, you are being dependent on to do the jobs. And this is, again, going to any position that you go into. And then the last service key in particular is being what I call, let's see, safe, dependable, efficient, and then I'm missing one more in that aspect is caring. You have to care what you do, but you also have to care what other people's around you. And so caring is very important. And so those skill sets you can learn either at an early age or you can learn throughout your careers. One of the things in particular they look for, and in any other employers, that they definitely want leadership abilities, but they also want to make sure that that leadership abilities falls in the scope of, caring. You can't be a good leader if you don't care about your people. You can't be a good leader if you ask your people to do things that are not safe. And you can't be a good leader if you're not dependable. And so those are the soft competencies that we look at. Now, the technical competencies in particular, TT has 2 aspects of it. One aspect is that we are not afraid to train. If you don't have the technical aspect, we would love to train you to get you up to snuff, because one of the things with our philosophy is that no one's born knowing how to do something. That skill set is acquired and it's through training. And if we don't give you that opportunity, then we can't in good conscience ask you to perform a job.
Yeah, that is so good. And I think for students to know that you're never going to stop learning. Once you get past high school, you're still going to continue on that train, whether it be formally through college, or training or an apprenticeship. There's going to be some way that you're going to have to continue to learn to continue to keep those skills fresh. And I love what you were saying that they could do. Talking about that, are there any specific subjects in school that students might be through 6th through 12th grade that would help them with careers at DTE Energy?
So it's interesting that you should ask that question, because the other question asked about the students who are going to college as well. Yeah. One of the things in particular is that not so much is the subject that is in, but it's more of exploratory, because I have seen people who work, and again, DT is my 5th employer. I've been in HR for 27 years. I have worked for Fortune 50 companies and to Fortune 500 companies. What's important and what is marketable is what are you bringing to the table from a creativity perspective. And you won't get the creativity perspective if you are not exposed to a various onset of various environment. So when you are in 5th grade, you're in 6th grade, you're in 7th grade, you are basically are going to draw your own and start developing your personality, who you are, what you want to do, or what you might want to do. And so it is important for you to really explore that. Never afraid to say, I don't think I'm good at it. I get a lot of females that said, I don't think I'm a good technician. And at DTE, we have actually a lot of females that's out there fixing HVAC because of the fact that you don't want to second guess. It's okay to say, you know what, I want to explore it and I might not like it, but it's not okay to not explore it because then you own it to yourself. And if and again, this is a good forum because when people have, and I had, when I went to several high schools where kids said, can I have your phone number? And they will call me and email me and text me and say, what do you think of this role? And what do you not think of this role? And how can I be better in this role? So it is important. I also want to emphasize the fact that from a classroom perspective, again, I'm going to say this, not that I condoned the GPA in perspective. A lot of times I see kids who memorize things and they would get that GPA. A lot of times people say, I don't have the GPA to hold that position. One of the things I would say is that you can continue to work and know that every one of us have a strong suit and every one of us have, weak aspect of it in terms of the area. As long as you can show and demonstrate that you have understand those learnings and apply those learnings, the grade is just a letter. So it's important that you see that. So
it's important oh, sorry. I was just going to say important that you're able to apply what you're learning. So
correct.
as we have students that are in middle school and high school, work on making sure that you can apply that learning. So whatever situation you're going to be in, it makes sense for you. So yeah, that is really good advice. What changes do you see developing in your line of work, HR, or within energy as a whole?
I'm glad you asked that question as well. So as you know, a lot of things, and even now when you go shopping, you can see, you have manual labors and you can do it yourself in terms of, a self-checkout and so forth. And so one of the things in particular is that you have to look at when you are looking to build your skill set in your careers and say, what are some of the careers that are sustainable? For example, as you know, when we used to look at resume, we spent quite a lot of time looking at resume. Nowadays, we can just basically zoom and glance and then they pick up certain words. So in order for you to keep ahead of your skill set, you have to be, first of all, tech savvy. Now, keep in mind, I am not anywhere from tech savvy. If I have a machine that I need to operate, I call my IT department, but that's okay. It's
That's why
okay
you have that.
to do that, right?
Yeah.
One of the things in particular is, as you know, with my industry in particular, in the energy industry, we are moving away from gas and we're looking at renewable energy, solar energy, and also a wind and turbine. And so those are really, really great new roads that you can learn and you can contribute to it. And it has a sustainability. And the reason why I say sustainability is that a lot of times people go into a career, especially for college students. And I'm trying to answer the question on the student about going to college and I'm sure what degree that's marketable, is that you can go through a degree that is marketable, like engineering, renewable, and so forth, because those are sustainable and it's a brand new space for individuals to go into. Not to buy, and data mining, those are the great skill sets that's now the thing. So this is the reason why we always try to look at that in that aspect. And as a matter of fact, I don't know if high school student knows yet, but at DTE, we actually start providing internships where students at a level of 11th grade and 12th grade, high school, can be a co-op and intern with us. And you actually feel a lot, I hear, and I talk to those students because I get the feedback is that they said, I never thought this would be the pathway, but I learned a lot, and they rotate from one organization to another. They could be working in HR, they could be working in operations, they could be working in engineering, safety, security, so all over, so that they get an aspect of it. I had one student said, well, I'm in photography, so DT doesn't have anything for me. I said, you want a bat? And because we have people in communication who put our programs
Yes.
together, and I had people said, I want to be a police officer, but that is a very small niche. And I said, want to bet, because we have a lot of police officers who work for us when they are done with their tenure, to be like investigator for people who steal electricities, for people who steal a gas, and so forth. So this actually work for everybody, even meteorologists, because we have to predict our environment and our energy. So do not be afraid to explore. Do not afraid to follow your dreams, but also do not afraid to ask questions and say, what can I do with my degree in your organization? That makes me want to work.
I like that, is how can you leverage that degree no matter what it's in within the company. I like that. And I love that you shared the wide range of what they could do, police officers coming to you and working in different aspects, or a photographer working in marketing, because that's so true. And I know I'm definitely going to be connecting with you. I have colleagues that do internships for our 11th and 12th graders here in the county. So we'll make sure to get them connected with you, Sue, to see how that might be able to be a possibility for students that might be interested in exploring something with DTE. So Sue, as we wrap up, what is a last little nugget of advice you would give to our middle school or high school students as they're going on their journey, going to be exploring their career paths? What would be that last nugget you would give them?
My last nugget is that find your passion, find what you like to do, explore it, get a good mentor, and your teachers are perfect mentors to guide you along the way. And, I know that high schools always have job fairs. Never, don't ever stop at the booth and ask questions, because you might find something that really triggers your passion that you haven't thought about. And that, and again, the intent is to make sure, and I always say, do not just get a job, get something that you love doing, because when you love doing it, the money will come. So that is my nugget I always give to people, instead of you saying, hey, I can't make the money. Because I think if you're happy, you're doing what you need to do, you're going to really segue and really excel in what you do, and you can grow from that aspect of it.
And then it doesn't feel like work ever.
Yes.
So that that's a good thing. Well, Sue, thank you so much. We had some great questions in the chat, and I'm so glad that you were able to join us. Man, it was just chock full of really good information. So I really appreciate that. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Sue, I'll have you stay on for a minute after I end the webinar. But everybody, I just really am thankful you were able to join us, and have a great day.
Okay.